Hi, this is Scott from Specter Gear, and for today's video we're going to be talking about our newly redesigned Raider 2 2-point sling. The Raider 2-point sling has been in our product line for quite a while now, and you might be familiar with the design. If you are, you'll probably see the change between the original Raider and the Raider 2 right away. But rather than discuss that up front, let me talk about the sling in its entirety, because for some of you this may be the first time that you're even seeing one of our Raider 2-point slings. So let me basically talk about the sling, and then we'll get to the changes that have occurred from the original Raider to this version. So this is, of course, a 2-point sling design. It is an adjust on the fly design, which means it has an adjustment mechanism at the front of the sling that allows you to contract or expand the sling as conditions warrant. For instance, if you need to do a cross-shoulder transition or take a disadvantaged shooting position with the adjustment device at the front of the sling, you can immediately expand the sling so that you can get into that shooting position or make that cross-shoulder transition. Or if you needed to pull the weapon in very tight on the body, you could do so by simply running the buckle all the way forward and then snug the sling up against your body. Of course, the default position would be with the buckle in about the center of the adjustment strap. But the sling itself is a fairly heavy-duty design. The main strap, the portion that goes over your shoulder, is 1.5 inches wide sling webbing, the same sling webbing we use in all of our applications. It's kind of a Goldilocks webbing that took us a long time to find, but we're very happy with this particular material. It's one of those things that it's not too stiff, not too flimsy, not too thick, not too thin, just right. So we're very happy with this webbing. But as I said, it's 1.5 inches to the portion that goes over your shoulder, and the difference between an 1.5 inch sling and an 1.25 inch sling is one of those things that you kind of have to experience. That extra 1/4 inch really helps in terms of distributing the weight of the weapon. While this isn't a particularly heavy weapon, it still is a great application for M4s and CAR-15s like this. But also, this is an excellent sling for things like FNFALs, M1As, G3s, some of your heavier guns. Starting at the rear, we kind of talked about the main strap, but going to the rear, all of the slings feature a slider at the rear that would interface either with an attachment point on the weapon, as you see here, or it may be some type of adapter. For instance, if it's a conventional stock AR-15 or M14, you'll see a thing we call a stirrup rear adapter. So you'll be ordering these based on your weapon type, although there is a universal version that's just the sling itself. And in fact, this would be considered a universal version because I have attachment points on the weapon at the rear and of course the front. So really I'm just purchasing the sling in this case. But if you need adapters for your particular design, or for instance in the case of like HK weapons, they require certain types of hooks. Those would of course be provided with your purchase. So moving forward, again, we already talked about the main strap. In the center of the sling, we have as a standard feature an emergency release buckle. In this case, it's a very heavy-duty 1.5 inch wide buckle. The intent and purpose of the emergency release buckle is if you get hung up in this sling at any point and you need to get out of it in a hurry, you can just simply hit the SRB, it breaks the sling open and comes off of the body. And that can be an important feature, particularly if you're moving through an urban environment. There's cases where you can get tied up with maybe crossing a fence or coming through a door, and you need to get out of that sling as quick as possible. Of course, that affords you that ability to do so. From there, we neck it down to 1 inch wide, and then that's where we come to the front adjuster. Now, the front adjuster, this is the part that has changed from the original Raider sling to the Raider 2. The webbing has not. This is the same type of 1 inch wide webbing that's used in MOLLE applications. It's a very densely woven but lightweight webbing. It's very resistant to abrasion, which is an important thing if you're going to be running a friction lock device back and forth on it. It is, as I said, lightweight. Now, that's kind of where we come into our adjuster here, because that's one of the reasons for our upgrade. The previous Raider had a steel locking cam buckle. It was spring loaded, and it worked pretty well. It worked okay. We were happy with it in the beginning, but it did have a couple of things that were drawbacks that we had received some comments on. One of which being it added a little bit of extra weight to the front. It wasn't too heavy, but it was heavy enough. It was also steel, so it could knock against portions of the weapon and create a noise signature. And it also had a kind of a counterintuitive effect in that you had to pull a latch forward while trying to run it to the rear, and that for some people proved to be a little bit problematic. And that's okay, I get that. I ran into the same thing myself. In later two-point sling designs that we did, particularly our Raptor sling and our Recon sling, we went with a different method, and it's this polymer friction lock buckle, also known as a ladder lock. But this is an interesting one. You don't really have to tilt it much to get it to move and release. But what's important on this is a very intuitive system. All you do to expand or contract a sling is just simply grab the handle and just move. You don't have to overcome a spring-loaded latch or gate or anything. It's just works like a trombone, back and forth, and when it's locked in position, it is locked in position. You may, if you've ever used a backpack, be familiar with these type of connectors. They're usually the same ones that are used on the shoulder straps for packs. It's for its size and its compactness, it's a very robust buckle. We have thousands of these in use now since we released the Raptor sling and the Recon slings, and we've gotten nothing but positive comments on them coming back. So, and the thing that really kind of made us jump in this direction is the past few times that we've submitted this design for large agency purchases, and it's been this sling with the previous adjustment mechanism versus the 1.25" Raptor. In almost all cases they said, hey, we like the front portion of the Raptor and we like the rear portion of the Raider. Can we get the two put together? And you only have to hear that enough times to realize that, hey, maybe everybody's got a point, and that should be the design that we do going forward. Thus, the Raider 2. And of course, moving forward to finish this out, this has a 1-inch tri-glide at the front that attaches to either whatever front adapter you might have. I talked about the rear adapters a little bit, but we also have wraparound front adapters and different types of adapters for different types of weapons. So, like I said, whatever adapters you need will be included with the specific sling model that you order. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. We think in the end we might have something that is going to be far superior and far more popular than the other version, although the Raider in itself was already a pretty popular design. But we think this is definitely a positive move forward. So going forward, from the date of this video, this particular design will overwrite the existing Raider sling options that are out there. We've already made the relevant changes in showing the front and rear of the sling in the images on the site, although there may be some legacy images showing the previous adjustment method. Just realize that this is the adjustment method now, and we're replacing those images as quickly as possible, but it's a pretty large job to get it done. So with that, I'll bring it to a close. I'll thank you for watching, and as with all of our products, these are manufactured right here in the United States of America, in Visalia, California. And for more information, just visit us at spectergear.com, and I'll leave links in the description so that you can go directly to the page for this particular sling type. So with that, have a wonderful day.